Today on Sports Central, we'll be going over a college football game preview and prediction on a big matchup coming up in Week 13. And this one's going to be between Northwestern and Michigan State, and this is going to be a big one for many reasons. Of course, we got Northwestern on one side. They're on their way, it looks like, to a Big Ten championship if they can just win these next 3 games, which right now looks pretty reasonable for Northwestern to do so. Their schedule is pretty favorable from here on out, but of course Northwestern kind of controls their own destiny right now in that Big Ten West because they did beat Wisconsin last week, and so that's going to be big for Northwestern right now, and right now it looks great for this team. Meanwhile, for Michigan State, they're towards the bottom of the Big Ten East. It's been kind of a rough season so far for the Spartans, but this could be a big win for them. And this game could have some long-term implications as well, which we're going over here today. And we'll be going over a full game preview and prediction on this one in this video today, starting out with your team trends. And of course, Northwestern last week once again beat Wisconsin 17-7. Great win there for the Wildcats. All around, Northwestern looked great in that matchup. Obviously, Wisconsin has had a great offense so far this season. So for Northwestern to only hold Wisconsin to 7 points there is extremely impressive. In my opinion. I mean, if you look at Wisconsin before this game, I mean, they were averaging 47 points per game. So for Northwestern to only allow 7 points to a great Badger team like that is very impressive out of Northwestern. And then for Michigan State, of course, wasn't as good of a week. They lost to Indiana. Actually, they got shut out by Indiana 24-0. So it was a pretty bad game against Indiana a couple of weeks ago. But all around, I mean, Indiana's a great team, so you got to consider that. But then again, it's just been kind of a rough go at it. Like, they got blown out to Iowa back on November 7th, 49-7. They did beat Michigan, though, a couple of weeks ago. 27-24 was the final score there, and so I'd probably consider that to be your signature win of the season. Of course, Michigan State and Michigan are always big rivals, and so that's going to be a win that I'm sure many Spartan fans are probably going to look back on as probably the biggest win of the season for Michigan State. But for the winning streaks, Northwestern is currently ranked 11th in the nation. Pretty crazy to see Northwestern go from 3-9 to the 11th ranked team in the nation, which, I mean, if they win this game, there's a good chance that we'll see Northwestern in the top 10. But they're 5-0 with a 5-game winning streak. And then, of course, Michigan State is 1-3 with a 2-game losing streak. Games will be on Saturday, November 28th, 3:30 p.m. Eastern in East Lansing. So Michigan State will be your home team here. Spread currently says Northwestern by 13.5. ESPN FPI has also got the Wildcats 89%. And then the Vegas prediction is going to go with Northwestern 34-19 being the current projected final score. So all three of our sources are going with Northwestern here, which is not much of a surprise. Obviously, the Wildcats have got a lot more momentum heading into this matchup. Here's your stat comparison for this game as well. Northwestern's got 25 points per game on average, 12 points allowed. They got 192 pass yards a game, 144 rush yards. And then for yards allowed, they got 214 passing and 100 even rushing. As for Michigan State, they got 15 points per game, 33 points allowed. So they've got a much worse points per game to points allowed ratio. And they got 250 pass yards a game, 73 rush yards. And then for yards allowed, they got 242 passing and then 149 rushing. So, I mean, if you look at both sides here, I mean, obviously Northwestern is much better statistically according to these. And Michigan State definitely has got to fix up a lot of things on defense if they're going to be a good team again. But then again, I mean, Northwestern has been a very talented team all around this season. That's been a big reason why they've been so good. It's because, I mean, their quarterback, Peyton Ramsey, of course, he transferred in from Indiana after last season. He's had a great season for Northwestern, and he's a big reason why this team has been as good as they have been. Because, I mean, he's put up nearly 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions, which, of course, that touchdown to interception ratio could be improved. But then again, that is through 5 games, which is pretty impressive out of any quarterback, especially a quarterback out of Northwestern. So, yeah, I mean, he's had a pretty good season. There's no doubt about that. Meanwhile, for Michigan State, of course, the quarterback situation has been a little bit questionable. I mean, you got Rocky Lombardi, of course, who's been primarily the starting quarterback here for Michigan State. He's got 890 yards, 6 touchdowns, 7 interceptions on the season. So it's been kind of a bumpy season for Lombardi so far. And, of course, that was kind of bound to happen, especially after losing a long-term quarterback like Lewerke was over the past couple of seasons. So for both these teams moving forward, though, I definitely think both teams have got talent, but Northwestern has just been able to execute it a lot better this season so far. But here's some key points for this one. Obviously, Northwestern is in the top position of the Big Ten West. They definitely control their own destiny right now, and they are pretty close to an appearance once again in the Big Ten Championship, which is crazy to think about because, I mean, if you look back at Northwestern in 2018, just a couple of years ago, we saw the Wildcats make it to the Big Ten Championship, and then, of course, 2019 was an absolutely awful season for Northwestern as they went 3-9. Then suddenly Northwestern's back. They're one of the best teams in the conference, and they're back. I'm probably going to give a shot at Ohio State in the Big Ten championship, which is more than likely going to happen at this point. So Northwestern has been it's been kind of a crazy few years for Northwestern. I mean, they go from basically a 10-win team to a 3-win team, then back to a almost undefeated team. So Northwestern has had a crazy last couple of seasons, but if you think about it, I mean, if Northwestern does make it to the Big Ten championship, that's 2 out of the past 3 seasons we've seen them in the championship game, which is crazy to think about. Michigan State's 1 win is to Michigan, obviously, and honestly, in my opinion, I mean, it would be pretty funny, like, not gonna lie, if Michigan State ended up going completely winless for the rest of the season, then 1 win was to Michigan. That would be kind of an interesting circumstance there, but obviously I think Michigan State, they should get a win at some point in the rest of the season. Like, I think Michigan State is definitely much better than a 1-win team, but just kind of interesting there. Obviously Michigan is a team that's always a tough one for Michigan State, so it's just kind of an interesting circumstance there. But impacts of the game for both these teams, obviously Northwestern is definitely a team right now that is in a great position to make it to the Big Ten championship. And if you think about it, I mean, if they can manage to knock off Ohio State in the Big Ten championship once they get there, which is very likely that they do. Like, once again, I'm not saying that they will, but it's pretty favorable right now because Northwestern beat Wisconsin last week. And looking at their future schedule for right now, I mean, they've got Michigan State this week, they got Minnesota next week, and then Illinois the week before that. All 3 of these games are extremely winnable for Northwestern. So thinking that they will make it to the Big Ten championship, if they do knock off Ohio State there, that puts Northwestern in the college football playoff. There's no doubt about that. So Northwestern actually does have college football playoff hopes right now. You got to keep that in mind. Like, this team, it sounds crazy that a team led by Peyton Ramsey could be in the college football playoff, but it is extremely possible right now. Let me remind you, like, they knocked off Wisconsin pretty convincingly last week. Northwestern is for real this season. This is a team to watch out for moving forward, and that's why I think Northwestern is going to get the win here in the end. I've got Northwestern beating Michigan State. Halftime score is going to be 21-7. We're going to see the Wildcats lead, and then in the final it's going to be 35-17. Northwestern gets the win, and I think it's going to be close to the start maybe. Maybe the first quarter is going to be kind of close, but I think in the end, Michigan State, this team is they're just not complete enough right now. Northwestern is looking like a much better team. They've got all the momentum in the world. They're definitely one of the hottest teams in the nation. I've got Northwestern getting the win here, 35-17. I think it's going to be kind of a close game once again in the first half, but in the second half, I could easily see the Wildcats pulling away. 75% chance of Northwestern getting the win here, so I'm going a little bit conservatively on the probability here, but I think 75% is pretty reasonable towards Northwestern in this circumstance. But then again, that wraps up my prediction on this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this game. Let me know your score prediction, all of that down in the comments below. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this one. Also, let me know whether you think Northwestern can make it to the playoff. I mean, once again, it's definitely possible right now that we see Northwestern in the playoff. I mean, all you got to do is beat Ohio State, which obviously Ohio State is pretty much like the Clemson of the Big Ten right now. Like, they're an insanely good team, and I mean, Justin Fields, that team is almost unstoppable right now. And I mean, they're a very, very good team. But if Northwestern, once again, if they manage to knock off Ohio State and pull the big upset there, it's definitely possible. But then again, thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed this previous up, like on it, subscribe as well if you're not already yet. And yeah, stay tuned for more. I'll see you all later.